So in a previous video I mentioned that I was moving to a new apartment and that a lot of things are still in the works. Well, one of them is my wife's desk, and today I'm just going to be showing you how I helped transform her desk into something that's not only aesthetic but also functional. Hope you enjoyed this video. Why did I just do that? Why? Just go. Okay, so here's my plan. Kind of like how I have an elevated mini wooden desk of sorts, I'll be getting one for my wife. There are several benefits to this small desk, and I'm primarily using it to easily reach things they often use or will be using, like this QK65 that I'm working on, the macro pad that I use to edit my videos, the AirPods, screen remote control, and USB hub. And for her, I believe it can help my wife in the same way that it can give her some space to neatly display some things that she likes. Second thing is definitely I'll be getting her a monitor instead of just relying on a small laptop screen. She works from home all the time and uses the laptop a lot for work, so it'll be easier on the eyes if there's a bigger monitor to look at, and I'm definitely getting a monitor arm to go with that screen. But I'll be using an old monitor instead because she doesn't like to overspend, so especially on things that she isn't really that picky about, like getting the latest and greatest high refresh rate monitor or OLED monitor. In future, when this thing breaks, I will definitely spend some to get a better one. Finally, I'll be remiss if I do not build her a custom keyboard, because that's what this channel is all about. I've ordered some keycaps, but those won't be arriving anytime soon, so I'll be putting some temporary ones on the keyboard I am building. Okay, so on to the next part of this video, building a keyboard. Let's go. The keyboard that I'm building is the Mode Sonnet. Amongst the many keyboard design studios, I love Mode Designs. Genuinely, I do. They just do keyboards really well, and the price isn't that steep either. This particular configuration costs $379, but you can configure your own at just under $300. What's really underrated is that the components will be constantly restocked. So unlike traditional group buys where you've got to wait ages to actually receive your order. So if the configuration you want is out of stock, don't fret, I'm sure they will be restocked pretty soon. Okay, so here's a quick summary of my wife's build. I'm building it in the step mount configuration with all the foams in, because that's by and large what newcomers prefer for their first keyboard. As for keycaps, I'm using these black on white Cerakeys combined with a palm plate, and that is going to give the extra deep sound signature. But really, later on I'll be replacing these keycaps for a themed look over a deep sound profile. I already placed an order for them a few months back, but they're still in the midst of fabrication. So subscribe if you want to see that content in the near future. Stabilizers, well, I'm definitely using Staebies because that's just the best I've used of so many so far, and I want the best for my wife. Here's how the keyboard sounds. Putting the desk together was easy enough. I didn't even need to refer to a manual to get the monitor arm assembled, well, not that it came with one anyway. Because the monitor mounted here is pretty aged, it doesn't have VESA mounting points. I had to get these small little finger-like things that are VESA mountable to the arm in order to hold this monitor in place. And the one I'm using is pretty small at 21 inches, so I can't imagine these little fingers holding up anything more than a 23-inch monitor. Also, you do sacrifice a tiny bit of screen real estate, especially if your monitor has thin bezels, just like the top of this one here. I also got my wife an arm that holds the laptop instead of the slim standing laptop holders that most minimalist YouTubers recommend. Because the laptop itself has a very usable screen. Speaking of, the mini wooden desk I got for her is also very well utilized, and she has since then rearranged things about to her own liking for display. The space underneath is used to store the keyboard for when she needs to do note-taking or crafts of some sort. The seller was also kind enough to ship this phone stand together with it, although I didn't purchase it. And of course, she did like the keyboard I made, just that I had to file the corners of some of the keys a little because it was interfering with the top of the housings. The Cerakeys didn't have issues with some other housings like the Epsilons and the Everglides, so I think this issue is limited to black inks only. Your mileage may vary. And that's it. So I hope you have gained some inspiration from this video to perhaps do up your own personal setup, or perhaps do one for your significant other. Alright, I'm done. See ya.